Today, I'm going to show you how to put in a fly zipper. These can be super tricky, but I've got some simple steps so that way you can master the fly zipper. The most common place you are going to see a fly zipper is on pants. They're also on skirts as well, and you might find this detail randomly on a pattern somewhere. And if you're sewing up a pattern and you've got directions for a fly zipper and it feels super confusing, which it often does, this tutorial is perfect for you. So let's get started. In general, you're going to need these pieces here. So you're going to need the fly shield, you're going to need the fly, and then you're going to need your pieces here, which are going to be your skirt or your pant legs, where we're going to put the zipper. Our first step is going to be attaching the right panel to the right side of the zipper. So with your zipper right side face up, we're going to iron down the edge here, a 1/2 inch or whatever seam allowance is in your pattern. And then we're going to place it right next to the zipper teeth, and we're going to give this a nice little edge stitch. So I'm gonna go iron under my seam allowance a 1/2 inch because I'm using 1/2 inch seam allowance today. So I have the edge of my fabric ironed under and I have it placed right next to the zipper teeth. And now I'm gonna give it an edge stitch just to the bottom of the zipper tape here. And an edge stitch is 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. I put my all-purpose zipper foot on to the right-hand side, and I've moved my needle position over to the right a little bit, so that way I'm perfectly 1/8 of an inch away from this fold. Now we're just using a straight stitch. We're gonna back stitch in the beginning. We're just gonna work our way all the way down. When the zipper starts to get in the way, lift up the foot and zip up your zipper. Once you get to the bottom of your zipper tape, back stitch and cut. Our edge stitch is looking great, and notice that it just goes down to the bottom of the zipper tails. If you're enjoying this video, definitely like and subscribe, and make sure you check out the AnastasiaSewingAcademy.com. I've got some new courses up there that you can take anywhere in the world. So cool, right? Link for online sewing classes down below. Now we're gonna take the other panel of the project and we're gonna take our little fly and place it right sides together. And now we're gonna sew this together at a 1/2 inch all the way down just to the bottom of the fly. I'm using a 1/2 inch seam allowance with a straight stitch, and I'm using my regular sewing foot. Back stitch and cut. So now I have the fly attached on the left side with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and it looks great. Now what we're going to do is take this, iron this nice and flat, and I want you to iron this back at the seam. Make it nice and crisp. Make sure it's not bubbly. If it's a little bubbly, just roll it in your fingers, get that seam to pop out, and press it. So I have my fly ironed towards the inside, and I also continued to iron this seam here down a 1/2 inch all the way to the bottom. Now what we're gonna do is add a little edge stitch just on the edge of the fly. So from the top of the waist, just to the bottom of the fly. And that's gonna help keep these layers together when you're wearing it so they don't pop apart. When you get to the bottom, just add 2 little back stitches and cut. Once you have your edge stitch complete, it should look like this on the inside, and then on the outside, it looks like that. So now what we want to do is place the zipper on top of the fly on the inside. And it should line up right to the edge of your serge here. But what you also really want to check is you want these seam allowances here to line up on top of each other. So if you need to move it over a little, totally fine. Move it over so that your ironed under seam allowances line up on top of each other real nice. And once you have that in the right position, what we want to do is pick up just the fly, because we are sewing the zipper here, the other side of the zipper, just to the fly flap. We are not sewing through all of the layers. So what I like to do is, while I have it lined up where I want it here in the back, I'm going to pin it. So I'm just going to lift up the fly layer. I'm going to put a pin in here, so that way when I flip it over, it doesn't move on me. Okay, there we go. So we just have it connected to the fly. And now what we're gonna do is move the front piece out of the way, and we're just gonna sew right down in the center of that zipper tape. I have my all-purpose zipper foot on the left-hand side for this, and I've moved my needle position over so I can stitch in the center of the zipper tape. When your zipper pull gets in the way, lift up your foot and unzip your zipper. Back stitch and cut. So now we have that stitch there just in the fly. So we did not stitch to the front of the project. So let's go over our second to last step. So what we need to do is stitch down that shape of the fly on the outside, and we catch the fly in the back here. So everything's gonna stay nice and secure. And then we end up sewing down, over, and back up. So that way we have an edge stitch and a top stitch. And then we just need to add the fly shield. And since we want to sew from the top and we can't see the shape of the fly in the back, what you want to do is take your pattern piece, lay it on top of your project, and trace out the shape of the fly. I would do that for you, but I freehanded it today. So I drew out the shape of my fly in the back. And just to remind you, what we're going to be doing is catching this fly in the back. So double check right now and make sure that the fly you trace down there from your pattern piece is going to catch the fly in the back here when we sew. So now I'm going to follow that chalk line all the way down. I'm going to come up a little higher on here. Make sure everything's lined up. And now when I get back to my edge stitch position, needle in, foot up, and I'm going to turn and follow that edge stitch right back down to the bottom of my seam. Back stitch and cut. And now if you want, you can add a top stitch or you can just leave that one stitch in there. Totally up to you. So that is something I'm going to do. I'm going to add that top stitch here. Gonna stop in the fly, come back over. I'm gonna come all the way over to the edge, back stitch. A lot of times you'll see like a bar tack there on the denim. So you can see it's really starting to look like a pair of pants. So it looks like this on the outside. We've got our zipper inside of there. And then on the back, everything is nice and sewn down. So now what we want to do is take our zipper shield. We're going to fold it wrong sides together. And we are going to sew it right into the seam allowance over here on the left-hand side. And that way it's going to cover the zipper and it's going to overlap right where the fly is on the other side. Now we're going to sew all of these layers together, make sure we backstitch, and just come all the way up to the top of your project. Backstitch and cut. So we have our fly shield here in the back, but we still need to secure it at the bottom. So if we don't want that to show on the outside, we just pull this back and go ahead and tack it on the actual fly. Or you're gonna notice on denim a lot of times, there's a bar tack over here, and that's to make sure that the fly shield in back stays over the zipper. So that way it doesn't fold back. It gets tacked and it's visible on the front. I'm gonna do the method where I just fold this back so it's invisible in the front, so that way we don't see a big bar tack on the outside. So I'm going to tack the bottom of the fly to the fly shield. And we're done. So you can see I've got that tacked down right here. And now when I flip it to the back, that's gonna stay nice and secure. So we did it, it's looking so good. We've got our top stitches, we've got our edge stitches, we've got the shape of the fly. And when we lift up the fly, we've got our zipper with our beautiful edge stitch. And when we zip down the zipper, there's our cool fly shield. Check that out, you guys. We just created a fly zipper and it wasn't even hard. So I think this is the easiest way to add a fly zipper to just about anything. Now you can switch it up. You can add bias binding to the fly. You can finish the edges with a clean finish. You can do different types of techniques for your fly zipper. But this way here, easiest way ever. You can also switch up your edge stitches and your top stitches, the distance, how many you're adding, get creative with it and have fun with your fly zipper. Thanks so much for watching Sewing Anastasia today. I hope you enjoyed learning all about creating a fly zipper the easiest way ever. If you have any questions about it, leave it down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, give it some applause, and let me know what video you want to see next down below in the comments. And if you're not already a subscriber to Sewing Anastasia, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when the new videos come out. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today. These videos are for you guys. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Insta, all the socials, so that way we can stay connected and creative together. And if you're in Chicago, come on into the design studio and take some sewing classes with me. Check those out at sewinganastasia.com. And big news, we now have the Sewing Anastasia Sewing Academy online. Yes, so we are starting our courses on there. So make sure you check that out. Links for all of those will be down below. Thanks so much for watching today. Bye.